The first scientist sounds like a very big title to attribute to anybody. People usually think of names like Aristotle for such title. Why is Ibn al-Haytham the first scientist, according to you?
He was the first person to systematically incorporate experimentation into his work. And not only did he do it, but he also stated in his work that his previous works, which used what he called persuasive methods of reasoning, were no longer valid, that he had found this new methodology, and that his previous work must be discarded. So we understand that he realized that logic and reasoning alone was not enough, and he systematically applied experimentation.
Muslims led scientific inquiry for many centuries. They built centers of learning from Bukhara to Baghdad to Al-Andalus. What was the main motivation there? What role did the teachings of Islamic religion play in that progress?
So Islam encourages people to seek knowledge about everything, but to seek knowledge about the universe in particular. And as I think one of the things that made Ibn al-Haytham a little bit different was that he understood Islam teaches that human beings and their reasoning and their observations are flawed, deeply flawed. And if you really want to understand the universe, you really have to eliminate human beings as much as possible and interact directly with the physical universe, which is experimentation. So this was a key ingredient in why experimentation and experimental science became so important.
What do you think happened then? What was lost that Muslim nations lagged behind in science and technology?
So there are many different theories about this. I mean, there was sort of a backlash against learning for its own sake. And so there may have been within Islam, there was a movement to suppress learning and curiosity for its own sake unless it had a practical purpose. The other thing is the Europeans they adopted all of this, they took it further, and I think people just began to forget about the contribution from the Islamic world. And the Islamic world just didn't continue to progress the way they had up to that point.
Scientists today are usually specialized in one specific field. Scientists in the past were more like polymaths whose knowledge spanned across diverse fields from astronomy to theology and to medicine. What would be an ideal way that makes science not only useful but also more meaningful about the human life?
So science is a way of knowing the truth about the material universe, the physical universe. And the methodology that science employs, it applies to all the sciences, to the physical sciences, the biological sciences, the social sciences. And it's now used across the world. I mean, everyone uses the scientific method. And it helps them free themselves from opinion and find a way to establish the truth about the material world. So it's a huge contribution. And it's influenced every area of life, not just the sciences, but even everyday life where for example, juries won't be convinced to convict someone based on circumstantial evidence. They want scientific proof. They want forensic proof. It's become a whole way of understanding and finding the truth about the world.
What is the takeaway message of the life of Ibn al-Haytham?
So the takeaway to me is that science grew out of his faith. So he was inspired by the Quran to seek knowledge, and he also understood that, as Islam teaches, that human beings are so flawed, their reasoning is so flawed. No matter how much we respect them, people and their opinions can be wrong. And so to really understand the universe, you need to interact with it directly. You have to open a dialogue with the physical universe and remove human beings and their sayings and their opinions as much as possible. And he understood that about knowledge. He actually said these things, and this is what inspired him to be experimental.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your contributions.
Thank you. It's been a tremendous opportunity to come here to the Salaam Islamic Center, to have a nice audience, receptive with many fine questions, and to be able to talk about not just my work. it's really the star of the show tonight was Ibn al-Haytham, and it's a great pleasure to be able to talk about him and his achievements. It's still news to so many people, even Muslims, that this scholar had done all of these tremendous things. And I'm just so thankful to the center for inviting me and giving me an audience that could appreciate that his faith and his science were really one.
Thank you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.